All right. Welcome back, everybody. I am finally joined by my acquaintance here in Anima. Say hello.
What's up, everyone? Who's ready for map two?
I know I am, that's for sure. Absolutely incredible electric map one. So, what are you looking to see here in map two here on Bind?
Yeah, so map one, not the best of looks from FT. Outclassed a lot of ways, both just offensively and defensively.
Yeah,
Not exactly the best performance. 2 rounds apiece per half, if I'm remembering correctly, and that's not what you want to see. So in general, for
yeah,
this second map, if I'm FT, I'm looking to just completely shake off map one entirely, figure out a way to get our heads back in the game, bounce back, and then just look to play our own game. We were actually in a
absolutely.
similar situation with the Asphodel team last night, and as long as FT can get some sort of a bounce back, then well, that might be enough for this week. However, I'm sure
Yeah,
they'd want to see more.
yeah. The season is still early, but sometimes you just got to say GG's, go next. And it looks like next is going to start here momentarily. And here we go. Map two of Bind is coming out. Do you think we're going to see a similar comp from last week's map on from SCG side against KWM?
I'm not entirely sure what they did run against KWM last week. However, based off of what we're hovering so far, a lot of these comps look relatively normal.
Yeah,
Obviously, Viper, Controller, Sky, Raze, super in meta on Bind right now. A lot of teams opting for some sort of other, either initiation or space taking duelist or initiator. See like Arena or the Yoru. In some cases, we'll see other agents like a Chamber or a Fade just to help get you a little bit more control. But ultimately, these comps look very standard. I wouldn't be surprised if both teams do end up going with the Reyna pick uh, as their second duelist just to get a little bit of more aggression, as well as just let their playmakers shine.
yeah, absolutely. I so last week SCG did opt for a double duelist, double smoke comp. Looks like FT might do something similar. Maybe a swamp comp, but it looks like they might just try to opt for a Brim and Viper comp here. But both teams are going for the Reyna pick, and I absolutely love this little FPX action, or what was it, Paper X? I'm sorry.
Yep.
But we do have a swamp comp from the side of FT, a little bit more of a standard comp besides Reyna from the side of SCG. So I'm ready to see something new.
Yeah, and I really like the Harbor on Bind, especially if you are going for the Reyna, just because you get a few different ways to uh, act around the different walls that he can throw out. You have different ways of segmenting the site. We see Paper X do that a lot, running Harbor and Brimstone instead of Harbor and Viper, but realistically, both these comps have the potential to do very, very well. And I would not be surprised if this map is significantly closer than the last one.
Absolutely, and I think that's what everybody wants to see here, being a little bit closer map, a little bit closer in terms of competitiveness here. But in terms of the attacking side, it looks like we might be opting for an A hit. The Viper wall already does go down, segmenting that site instead of a lurking wall. It's a little bit more aggressive, but it does look like that's going to be the stronger site here for the defending side of SCG. So the pretty with the change of bind, we do see a little bit of this new Viper Wall meta going through TP. Looks like 4 players are going to be moving towards showers, and we do have a 4v2 gunfight with Raze and Sky against the 4 players of FT, and Prisma is able to get one with a nade, and they do decide to reset and group up in A main here in A short. They do have a little bit of a caterpillar smoke here. Prisma is able to get a couple shots on Porange, but Porange does hit a molly and makes a few of them vulnerable, but they decide to all hit TP, but Unrated follows them and is able to get one, but unfortunately does get traded by the likes of Prisma. Prisma does have 2 kills now on the round, and it is a 4v3 situation in favor of SCG. are grouping up towards B, but they do have the lurking Reyna in Icy on A. If he does get up into sight here, they might be aware that the favored site for the defending side is on B here. They do pop the harbor wall, and it looks like they might be executing, and Porn is somehow able to get a pick on Creeper Zone, and Seo is a brick wall that Prisma just runs into. Mako is able to get a pick on Ego, and now it's all up to Icy. He does hit TP, and they know exactly where he is. Bomb is down in Octagon, and this looks like an unwinnable round for Icy unless he goes huge. Is able to get a pick through the Viper Smoke, but unfortunately, Seo is able to take him out in the first round. Goes to SCG.
Yeah, great initial start from FT there. Obviously, they came out in numbers. Nate does a lot of damage, chunks a lot of players down, but ultimately the HP just wasn't quite good enough to take the fights like they were. And after they cut Noise, I really would have liked to see them double back towards that A site, especially after getting the sound cues from the teleporter. But hindsight's 2020, and unfortunately that round did not go quite the way they wanted. Also, interesting to figure out where this Viper Orb from Orange is going to land. Last round, it didn't quite go where it wanted, but now it seems like we're on the same page. That's going to be a very valuable smoke to keep up for the side of SCG.
Yeah, and it is going to be covered by the Brim Smoke, but I think that's exactly what they want to do here. Seo does look to get a little bit aggressive out of B main, but does not see anybody. Unfortunately, that is exactly where FT is deciding to group up here. Icy does try to keep this Reyna lurk here with a weaker gun. I don't know if that's the idea, if that's the correct play, but we do have two players from the side of SCG hitting TP, and now the bomb is pinched in Hookah. Seo is able to get a nice flick on Creeper Zone, and this is just falling apart from the attacking side here. Unrated is good for 2. And now we just have a 1v5 situation. Can we get a flawless victory? Prisma is able to get one. Can he get another one? This does not look like it's going to be strong, but he is able to get another. And 22 health and Dream. Bomb is down. Can he win this round? Even get another pick? He's not able to get another one, and Porridge does clean him up there. Interesting round.
Yeah, ultimately not exactly what you want to see from the side of FT. Obviously, losing the round is kind of the expected outcome, but at the very least, Prisma does have their ult going into this next round. A couple picks with the Sheriff and going down in the end. Going to do a lot for them right there, but they still haven't found a way to actually breach the defenses of SCG. They haven't really been able to get on the site.
Bomb plan, yeah. No, I totally agree, and I don't know if we will see an ult come out of Prisma. We might, being that last map they weren't able to take down the first gun round on attack, but Sky Flashes are traded from both sides. The dog does come out from SCG, and they do know that somebody is at least showers. There is no aggression, but they are again hitting the stacked site.
It's huge.
But they do have the gun advantage.
That's huge. The dog doesn't spot early, but they are going to check it out.
Icy is able to pick up a trade on Cell there. Unrated with an crazy intuition to shoot up there. Maybe he saw a foot, but does peek out, and unfortunately Ego is able to pick him up. We do now have a 3v2 situation. They do get the first bomb plant, and Icy does cover him with the Cove. We do now have Seo looking to go huge with the Guardian. This is absolutely something that he does need to do if they want to win the round. He does spot Prisma in showers. Orange does opt to go in towards U-Haul with Seo. Looks like we do have a pretty steady hold. That is a really good Viper Orb, but we do see a spam through the orb from Prisma, and Icy is able to pick up the last kill on Seo, and they do take down a gun round.
A lot of good heads-up plays from both sides. Unrated does manage to actually see the foot of, I believe it was Zaf right there. Getting a kill with the Bucky. Very well done, but ultimately not quite enough to convert for SCG. FT also does manage to keep 3 rifles online. Creeper Zone going to be going in with light armor and a Guardian. Potentially actually does manage to... Actually going to opt for the Sheriff instead. Economy not the best for FT, but Still plenty of guns available, and those 2 ults online. There's a lot to work with. It's just a matter of figuring out a way to keep being able to breach the sights of SCG. And
Absolutely.
it's going to start by driving Sayo off that very strong initial setup.
Do have the lurking wall from Zaf here. I would like to see ults from the attacking side. Zaf is able to get 2, and maybe they won't even need an ult here. We do see Reyna being able to heal here. It looks like we aren't going to see an execute on B. They might opt to hit TP though with the 2 picks. That might seem to be the play, being that this is the stack site. Of course, I can see the entire map, so I know that this is the stack site, and they might not. Looks like Icy is Prisma is choosing to meet back up with his team. It looks like they are getting ready for an execute here. The harbor wall does go up, and the Arena blind does come out. Orange is in a nice rat angle, and we do see the ult from Prisma, and it does not connect, unfortunately, because Icy does pick up the kill, but that is a kill with 3 assists on it. It is now a 2v4 situation. It's looking like it's going to be a difficult retake, but Sayo is able to get 1, and Harbor has really low health. This is very winnable if Sayo can clear the angle, but he does not, and now it's all up to Cell. He does get 1 on the player who had 2 health, is able to get 2. Can he go huge for 4? This is exactly what they need. He does spot the 1 and is able to get the blind off, but unfortunately Icy, it does go for the 3k and still has an ult online to work with.
Yeah, just very strong play by FT right there. Huge play from Zap going and getting 2 right there. Unrated pushing out ahead of the Viper wall, trying to catch a timing. Not entirely sure what the idea there was. It's an opportunity to try and make a play, and obviously shutting down the Viper gives you so much map control, especially when the Viper's just playing to try and lurk up into A, but apparently Rethink not exactly the happiest with how that round went. Very early timeout coming in round 4. Hold up, can we go back? It plays the music during the timeout? I wonder, is Creeper Zone just stuck listening to that for the entire minute?
Luckily, it's not a bad tune, so if I'm Creeper Zone, I'm at least a little bit happy about that.
I mean, you spent at least 20 on that Vandal. You might as well get some extra use out of it.
Right, exactly. But I agree. I do think this is a little bit of an early timeout here from Rethink, but after such a convincing victory, maybe he thought like, hey guys, get your shit together. You know, this is supposed to be super convincing too.
Well, the other thing, playing with Rethink, he's very fond of trying to do something peculiar on these eco rounds. And given that we have the Orbital Strike and the Seekers to work with for the side of SCG, I wouldn't be surprised if they're not trying to think, hey, let's fight for an area on the map. If we need to, we can try and use some of these ultimates to convert the round. And it seems like that's what they're going for a major stack out of showers. And once this wall drops, there aren't that many players, all things considered, on the other side of this. This could be dangerous for FT to work with, but the swing just not quite there. Makoto does really well, finds 2 actually. Zaf going to go down, and the aggression starts on the other side of the map, but it's just a bit too late. There's still plenty of time for SCG to find some sort of flank, and if Orange is just able to stall this a little bit more, SCG could be in a good position, but unfortunately for them, the site is going to fall. Bomb's going down, and the Orbital Strike invested just a bit too late either.
Wow, Ego is able to get a pick on Unrated. That is a super unfortunate ult from the side of Unrated. You, of course, wanted to see that a little bit earlier. Sayo is flooding out of hookah, but unfortunately is not enough with Mako not following out either. And Icy is able to pick up the final kill once again in a 3-person standing win for the side of FT. 3-2.
Yeah. I didn't mind Icy's jet during the last map, but it does seem like he's just playing a lot more comfortable on Reyna. Not having to be that first entry because you have Prisma on the Raze alongside him, but just getting the ability to frag out, just play your own game. And honestly, FT are doing a great job of that. That was something that I said I wanted to see them do a little bit more going into this. early ult out of Sayo, and it's not going to work out for him. Just taking the fight with absolutely no help whatsoever. And now a little bit of panic stations for SCG. They do have a lot of B long control, so they are going to
Absolutely.
rotate Orange in on the Viper, but this
One thing
is
that
a
we do
rough
know
situation for
from
them.
Yeah, one thing we do know from B though, I'm sorry, from Bind, is that teleporters can eliminate map control just by showing up on the other side of the map. You don't have to run into anybody, but it does look like they do try to opt towards this A hit here. Bomb is going down under the cove, and the ult is invested from Harbor. They do want to look to seal this round, but unfortunately it absolutely falls apart. Mako and Porridge go huge for 3, and now it's a 2v3 situation on the side of the attackers. Cell is on the bomb, and he doesn't even need to worry because Mako and Brim got him. I got you, boys.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the lack of flank utility just going to leave FT a little bit in the dark as far as how many are flanking. That Harbor ult might have been a good sign that they weren't actually rotating in from CT and that maybe the hit was coming elsewhere. But unfortunately, FT just took too long trying to get onto the site. Use an ult, don't quite get the round out. They do get Makoto to use their ult, which helps a little bit, but ultimately, in a round like that, where you have such an early advantage, it's a shame that you aren't able to convert it.
Yeah, and that's one that you definitely want to win here. But it looks like they might be playing a little bit slow towards B. They do have 4, and it looks like Zaf does decide to meet back up with the team here. Again, there's no lurk wall from the side of Zaf. He was able to capitalize on it once a couple rounds before, but does not look to do it again here. We do have Creeper Zone taking first contact, or looking to do so in B, but it looks like the execute is coming out. All of the util is flooding out of Hookah. They know that that's the only place everybody's coming from. Prisma is going to go down, but Ego is going to get the trade on Orange. But Zaf, with the ult and the bomb, looking to get a plant here. 2 players coming out of TP, but FT punishes that instantly. They do know that there's a Viper ult on site, and this is going to be incredibly difficult to retake. Can Cell get a pick on Icy here on the edge? A pick on Zaf would be huge here, and he does get one, but unfortunately it's a 1v3 situation. And he does get caught with his Utilop, but is able to get Ego on top of Tube, and now it's a 1v2 situation. Does not look incredibly unwinnable here, being that everybody is so separated. He is able to get one, and he knows that Creeper Zone is in Hookah, but unfortunately he is able to get the pick and save the round. 4-3 in favor of FT.
Players trying to take gunfights just a bit too much there on both sides, honestly. Porridge trying to get ahead of the hit is rewarded with 1 for their troubles, but the swing from Hookah just a tiny bit disjointed from SCG, and FT able to punish that, but then it just takes one little slip up to cascade the round. And Makoto finding a pick onto Zaf there was absolutely huge. Numbers just dwindled for the side of FT, and it's very lucky that Creeper Zone was able to close it out. And even luckier that SCG is on an eco here, trying to get aggressive. Sayo's actually going to find one and the spike before getting taken down. Zaf with a sheriff,
oh my
oddly
gosh. Zaf
sure.
goes huge for 3.
I don't entirely know why they had a sheriff in the first place instead of a proper rifle. I think might have dropped it over to Creeper Zone or a different teammate. But I mean, hey, it certainly worked out for them.
That's exactly what you needed there.
Especially in a round where you just used the Viper's pick, getting already that far into it.
Oh,
very nice. But again, these
what a different Viper with
these
the
Vipers
sheriff.
and the sheriffs. Yeah.
Can he get another one? Yes, he can. Zaf looking for the ace now. Can he get it? No, he cannot. Porin shuts it down, and now it's a 1v1 situation. Can he get the clutch defuse? You know exactly where he is, and he gets the kill. Porin's with the 4K on Icy, and all of a sudden clutches the round. It is a tie game. This is exactly what you want to see from a map 2 bind. Oh, boys. Ladies and gentlemen.
And if I'm FT's coach, well, the other team, doesn't that expression does not actually work out for me right there. But you gotta not play the ones. I get that Zaf is hunting for the ace, but those first two are just not excusable. You have to play numbers in that situation, and FT's lack of discipline costs them that round and sends their economy back down. I guess the only bright side is that Zaf does have a sheriff to work with, and I see if they can get a rifle, they do have the Empress to work with, and that can lead to snowballing. But ultimately, I'd like to see FT just try and play to get control of some of these orbs.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what you want to see on save rounds
Orange
as
is
well,
Buffy.
because ultimates are so important in these games. But it looks like they, oh, Cell is able to get 2 on the execute onto B. Prisma is on site alone, and Cell does get flashed, jumps behind the harbor wall. It's a 2v5 situation here. Cell is good for 4. And again, the franchise player separating himself from the rest of the competition here.
I'm just confused as to why Orange had a Bucky, but I mean, hey, if the Viper players are making it work with the weaker weapons, then who am I to deny them? Orange, hey, he has made it work so far. Bucky's not quite what they used to be, but honestly,
You know, I think it might be because of the Viper ult, but when Cell's going huge for 4, you might not even need to invest it. But it looks like Creeper Zone's getting ready to ult off rip. We have Unrated in a little bit of an aggressive position here. The question is, will he capitalize it, and will the dog clear him? Yes, it will, and all of a sudden, he's in a one-and-done position. Somehow comes out with his life. The Molly does come down, and somehow is still alive, but gets absolutely util flooded, and is unable to salvage his life there. We do have Orange waiting and watching to see if they TP, but they are already on site with a harbor all invested. Orange does decide to take
They have to be
TP,
aware of this
and it
flank,
looks
though.
like they're going to try to pinch site here. And everybody is just convoluted in U-Haul, and then next to box, Mako is able to get 1. Can he get more? He does get 1 through the smoke, and the other person is still there. Does get taken down, and we do have just Harbor left. He does get stunned by the dog and is getting absolutely util flooded by both the Viper and Cell. And the round goes to SCG with Viper all still online.
Again, not aware of the flank. Even with the Sky ult coming out, telling them that, hey, 1 is pushed out of showers, they're still not dealing with the flank effectively, and they're still not playing with their team.
Yeah, a lot
We're
of
constantly
1v1s,
giving
it seems.
ones. We're letting just single players work their way into sites and just wreak havoc. And the post plant positioning, not really enough to even compensate for that. 2 players playing in the cubby right there, just not really working out.
Oh, Zap. Zap is able to get 1 in showers, but we have an all-out brawl in B long. Icy is able to escape with his life with the Rain of Ghost, and Porridge is able to get 1 in hookah, and with bomb down, does decide to invest the ult on a save round, but we have seen that Zaf and Icy are able to get it done with just a sheriff and a rifle in their hands, so I don't disagree with that ult whatsoever. Zaf is completely separated from Icy here. They are completely playing for ones, but Unrated, of course, is lurking on site and is able to get Zaf on the flank there. And now Icy, with just a sheriff in their hands, might be looking to get the gun. Does get it. I think he's aware that Mako is aware that Icy does pick up the rifle, but says, "I don't care. I gun diff you. I aim diff you."
Yeah. I'm always a big fan of the so-called offensive satchels. I think it was Ludwig put it during the Invitational. And I don't actually mind investing the pit there after going down in numbers, or going equal in numbers to an eco.
I agree.
Yeah, it's just a very useful stopgap right there. You have the spike, you don't have to worry about trying to figure out where anybody is, and it just lets people anchor a lot more effectively.
Yeah, I think it's something that kind of seals around. Seo gets an early pick on Zaf. Zaf was absolutely clueless. What just happened to me? And Seo is looking for more. Takes the Empress, but does get blinded away. And now it's just unrated, sitting in showers alone. All 4 players from the side of
That's the
FT
ult
are
crap.
grouped up towards A. We do have many ults to work with from both teams here. Only a Raze ult to work with from FT, but Raze is getting healed. If I am at the side of FT, I think I would want to invest that now to get an entry onto site and try to equalize this position here. We do have a potential flank from this side of SCG, but it looks like they are pinging towards B, so they might opt to rotate here. The question is, will it be fast enough before a member from SCG decides to rotate? Most likely Porange here, because clearly Unrated and Seo have been known to just hold it down themselves, but
30 seconds left.
looks
I
like we
wonder.
are.
I
I'll
wonder
go
if we're
for
going
it.
to see a fake with the Viper Wall and the Raze ult over on the A site.
Wow, now that would be an incredible play. Unfortunately, it does not look like that's going to be the case. And Icy being the entry does his job, but are they aware enough to clear Octagon? The orbital strike does come out, and Mako does somewhat get hit by
That's
Unrated's
a
ult, but it does not
that's gonna
matter
stall the
because he's
plant
good
so
for 2.
much.
Yeah, he's just holding that for um just for the suspense to get them a little wary,
Switching sides.
careful to push, and that's exactly what you want to do when the time is running out.
Yeah, just
What a
so
first
much
half.
stall coming out there, and unfortunately, there just wasn't anything for FT to actually draw players off site or risk any sort of aggression on the other side of the map. And because of that, SCG was able to just bunker down. They knew that their B long was not going to be an issue, and ultimately, the hit just stayed one dimensional. Between that and the lack of time on the clock, that's a recipe for disaster, and SCG certainly were cooking something up there.
Absolutely. It does look like Porange is sticking with the default wall on A that he hit every single time against KWM. This looks like we are going to get a hit towards B long. 2 sky flashes from the side of FT already invested, and now we don't have all that much stall util from the side of the defenders here. We do need to see a Viper wall. Unfortunately, it's not going up, and now all of a sudden they have essentially a free site. Everybody's sitting behind smokes and walls, and Ego is going to get I'm sorry, Bomb is going to go down. Cell is able to get an early pick on Zaf, and now we have a 5v4 situation. Ego and Icy do both go huge for 2, and Creeper Zone also is able to get 1. Mako does get a trade on Ego, and now we have a 2v3 situation. Unrated does go down to Icy, and now it's all up to Porange. Can he somehow manage it? No, he cannot, and Icy picks up his 3rd for the round and seals the deal.
Going to take the defuse, working their way towards that Sky Ultimate. Very nice retake from FT. A little bit hectic, and again, just a combination of a whole bunch of ones being taken. But at the end of the day, pistol's a pistol. Flood retakes are going to be very strong there. The use of the harbor wall to separate out the site was very, very nice. And I like the way they approached it. Everything was left pretty much covered. There wasn't any like glaring flaw that could be exploited yet. And FT getting themselves a much needed pistol round.
Do they opt to play this retake kind of setup majority of the time? We shall see. It looks like we do have a 5v3 take onto A, and that's exactly what you need to go fast when you have a gun disadvantage. Cell is able to get 1, and because of that is able to get a Bulldog and is in backside. Icy does get 2 picks with the Guardian though, and that is what you need from him, but Seo's getting really aggressive out of CT and does have a gun to work with. Fortunately does waste a blind somewhat because and he gets a pick on Icy. Icy absolutely whiffs, does use the blind and is good for 3. This is exactly what you need from your star player. And Unrated picks up the final kill on Ego.
Very well done. that one pick coming out from, I believe it was Celeron, just absolutely crushing the FT defense. The reflank from Unrated just at the perfect time. So I'm going to go ahead and get dropped over the Guardian. And honestly, while I'd love to see them on the Bulldog, they've been putting in a lot of work on the Guardian. They have their fun with the Bulldog.
Yeah.
Now it's time for a slightly bigger gun. And on the other side, it's time for quite a few slightly smaller guns.
Yeah, and Seo being the more mechanically gifted player on the side of SCG, having the one-tap machine in the Guardian, but they are flooding onto B here with only one player. It is the weaker site, but it's not it's a good gamble to take from the side of the defenders here. Mako is able to get first blood on Icy, but completely whiffs on Ego, and unfortunately does get picked off there on top tube. And Rated is able to get one
Player standing.
at super low health, does able to come around with his life. They do know that Zaf is now coming out of TP. Orange, of course, setting up for the lineups. This is looking unwinnable for the side of Zaf, and does get whiffed through the smoke, and there goes the Viper Molly.
If you're watching this later, Orange, that does indeed hit. You got it right. The practice was worth it. Yeah. Very, very strong post plant hold out of SCG. I like the use of the cascade to try and, or not the cascade, the cove to try and close the distance. Obviously, it's something that Harbor lets you do that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise, given that there's not really an agent with an ability similar to that. But at the end of the day, it is the weaker weapons, and they're only going to take you so far.
Right. Icy does have the new skin, and being that he is match MVP currently, he does have the champion's aura here. Creeper Zone's not going to pick up anything with the Sky Flash on mid. They might think it's clear, and with Prisma getting a pick on B, it does bring out what looks like a full rotate. I lied. Just a little bit of a rotate from the side of FT, and now they are actually opting to lean towards B. Unrated, being the lurker, might get absolutely punished against 3 players, but maybe they only came over for the heals, and now there's 4 players on the side of B, and they choose to continue to stay here, being that Unrated is there. But I think they are aware that Unrated is the lurker, and with the Rain of Blind coming out on A, it does look like the execute on A is coming, and they are aware. The bomb does go down, and unfortunately the right-click nade is not going to connect on the planner. Ego is able to get 2 here, and can he get 3? No, he cannot. Icy is going to take the last kill, but Seo does not go down without a fight and is able to pick 1 before he goes down.
Got a nice little crowd visual. Finisher's not as good as the other 2, but that's still a really cool finisher, especially when you're top fragging around like that.
Of course.
Unfortunately, team's still down 10-6, but that is a very important round for FT to win. Getting back on the board, not quite breaking the back of SCG's economy, and with the ultimates online, there's still a lot to be concerned about, but the Reckoning, the Seekers online on the other side, it should help quite a bit with stalling and or retaking. I wonder if SCG were able to pick up on the fact that the rotates are kind of sporadic from FT, and they might be able to play off of that in the future.
Ego does get hit by the Sky Flash here. It looks like they're gonna just brimmy stimmy into showers and try to fast hit on A, but the rest of the team is stuck in short. Maybe they were waiting for the Reckoning, or maybe they were trying to sell a fake here, but Bomb is stuck still pretty far behind on A. It looks like they might be opting for a rotate here with both Bomb and their entry in Seo, leaning towards the side of B, but we might get a confrontation of Orange, who has a really strong angle here if he's aware, but we might get some pretty bad timing. Looks like they think it is going to be in a hit. I mean, he is completely unaware that everybody is pretty much on site already.
And that Seeker's going to catch out Zaf.
Yeah, and that is a really unfortunate position to be in. There's now 4 players on the side of B, and seekers going out from both teams are going to show that unrated is going to be, of course, on the solo lurk. Sayo does get taken down by Prisma, and Mako does take out Zaf. We do now have a 4v4 situation, but unfortunately, it looks like Ego has some internet
Mollies.
problems and is stuck over on A. Unrated here, getting ready to ult for the post plant. I'm sorry, for a retake? No, for post plant. And everybody on site is going to have to abide by the rules set by the Brim alt. Cell is able to get one. Icy does get the trade, but time is running out for the defuse, and it does not look like the defuse is going to be possible. Two players are going to be alive from both teams by the end of the round, with a Raze alt still online from both teams here.
Just unfortunate timing for tech issues to happen. Either way, though,
Of course.
still would have had so much post-plant utility between actually don't know if the Raze ult was online. But between the Raze, between the Brimstone, the Viper lineups, obviously we got to see a taste of those earlier. The Molly, that was always going to be a very hard retake for them to pull off, especially when the Viper wall was no longer active due to Zaf going down.
Caught in a horrible timing there too. That is really unfortunate from Zaf. But we're playing Valorant. Things like timing is gonna happen, and it's tough to see when you're looking back on the VOD and you're like, oh my gosh, I could have won that round. All I needed to do was hold the angle. Unfortunately, that just wasn't the case. So looks like the tech issues have been resolved, and we might start to go into the round here. And it looks like the side of SCG are opting again for an A hit. Will they be as slow and choose to rotate like they did last round? I guess we will see how it plays out, but I do like how both teams are kind of prioritizing the shower control, especially with both Skies being the early aggressors from both teams there. We are going to get a couple spams through the smoke, but with the recent Valorant update, spamming through smokes is a little bit less effective with the less rounds in each magazine from the primary weapons there. Creeper Zone is able to get an early pick, and unfortunately does go down to unrated, but Icy is able to get the trade there as well, and they do win the shower battle, going to the side of the defenders. We do have Prisma in an incredibly aggressive position. Does it get cleared? It semi does, and he does get punished for lazily clearing the corner, and now Prisma's a little bit stuck and does get Prisma, but it does get Porange, but does get himself as well. I guess that's one way to get out of a sticky situation. If I'm going down, you're coming down with me. But Bomb is now down, and we have two people watching it, and now it's all up to Mako, who does have full health, and Reyna is in the situation where they are gonna want to have Ego play off of their contact. They do have to abide by the rules set by the nade. Can we see
this
a
ult
clean
could
take?
go huge.
If they utilize it, that might be the play, but unfortunately are not aware that they might be over by the bomb and protecting it, and they are going to try to get an early bomb down, but they might get caught from the two players on B. He did choose to wait really long, and now they know exactly where he is, so he's in a really tough situation. He's going to need to isolate ones, and he is able to get Icy. Unfortunately, that was the player who was weakest, and he does not come out of that without taking any damage, but he does pop the ult and does decide to hold it, which is a great way to stall out time. Does shoot it down and is not able to get any damage on, but he knows exactly where the player is, and Ego no longer knows where Mako is. This is all of a sudden look like a very difficult bomb defuse. Mako does have to respect it, and does he get the defuse? I don't know if he has time. I don't think he does.
Barely missed it.
And looks like SCG is going to come out with match point 12-6.
And just again, not quite playing together enough. Giving up ones. Another situation where FT just sends someone way further down extremity than really either team is expecting, and not quite knowing that well, they're leaving parts of the map open. Obviously, a little bit better of a showing right now, 12-6, but with the weaker weaponry online, this might not last much longer.
Yeah, not a very confident buy from the side of the defenders. And it looks like SCG are well aware and are just bum rushing onto site here. Bomb is going down. Heals from Scar coming up. Ego is spamming through the smoke. Is able to get one, but he does get spotted from Mako through the smoke and does get punished because of it. Creeper Zone does get Sayo, and Icy is good on Mako. And now it looks like it's going to be a favor side on the defenders. Unrated is able to get one through the smoke, but unfortunately Icy is there to pick him up.
FT showing that they still have a little bit of fight left in them. They do use the Raze ult there, but honestly, at this point, if you can use an ult to secure a round, you kind of have to do it. Just really
Absolutely.
good individual plays out of Ego and Creeper Zone and Icy to just deny it as long as possible, keep this match going, and hopefully try and get this thing to overtime.
Yeah, and I think, getting the bomb down and then getting the pick on the player honestly might have been a better play there. Obviously, you want to try to stop the defuse, but looks like it ended up playing out for them the way that they wanted to, being that they took the round. Does look like a little bit slower of a pace here. Unrated is going up B long. Icy does spot two and decides to back away. No damage is taken from either side. We do still have a 3-2 setup. Raise debating if they want to rotate towards A, but decide against it. And now we have, looks like what might be a push into Hookah. They might just be waiting for the Viper Wall to drop, which it now has. It looks like they're just jump peeking, trying to play this a little bit slow, trying to get information, figure out where everybody is. Skydog is coming into A, and Reyna is throwing some useful down, but unfortunately does get a pick. Does get picked from Prisma. Unrated does get a pick on the opposite site, and Mako does get a pick with a stinger as well. Ego on the opposite site gets a pick on Cell. Unrated on the other opposite site gets a pick on Zap. We now have a 3v2 situation in favor of the attackers. Now it's all up to Ego. Can he go huge? Does he have the ego to win this? Porange, of course, setting up for his lineups, and with a Brimall online, this does not look like it's going to be a winnable round. Porange debated if he wants to use the ult, but he says no. I'm just going to go ahead and play lineups because that's what I do. My name is Porange, and I play lineups. Here we go.
High Tide is available.
One.
Ego kind of just has to use it to block off as much as possible, but
Yeah,
there's so
you
little time left.
You have to ping earlier in that situation. I know you want to try and clear sight, but this is just unwinnable, especially with another player closing the distance. Mako picks up the 3K for the final round, and match point goes to the side of SCG.
So that is going to do it for this match. SCG going to take it 2-0. Very strong ascent. FT bouncing back just a little bit on bind, but ultimately not quite able to do it. Great individual performances out of players like Prisma and Icy. Prisma actually quietly having a better game ACS wise than Icy. 15 assists will certainly do that for you. But
yeah, 5 first bloods as well.
Even on a night where Sayo is kind of quiet, all things considered,
yeah,
players like Makoto and Celeron, and even in certain situations, players like Orange and Unrated, just playing very, very strongly and showing why SCG is a very, very strong team to look out for.
Yeah, and even though Unrated and Orange aren't nearly as flashy as the trio of Mako, Sayo, and Cell, I mean, you look at the scoreboard of this match here, and Unrated coming in with 13 assists, going with 15 and 12 kills, and you saw Orange go crazy with the 4K when Zaf was hunting for the ace, when all he had was a Sheriff. I mean, that was a huge round to win, especially when you're on a save, when it looks like FT was going to have start picking up momentum. That definitely shut it down, and that's exactly what you want to see from your role players there. Looks like Bind is very strong from the side of SCG, and now that I think about it, Ascent and Bind are the first two maps, or were the first two maps that SCG also played against Kittens with Mittens. So we'll see if they're just a well-oiled machine on these two maps, or if they're a well-oiled machine in general when they play another map. But looks like they're have a pretty solid performance here in week 1 and 2.
Yeah, definitely a very strong team to look out for. Obviously, with Ascent and Bind being played both weeks, there are going to be some questions about their map pool, but if they can keep putting up performances like that, I don't think there are going to be that many questions, especially if this team keeps clicking together like they were doing tonight. Just very strong group performances, buoyed by a couple of very strong individual performances that
Yeah.
ultimately didn't even need to be that strong, all things considered. And SCG just working like a well oiled machine, just plowing right through the Tanukis.
Yeah, and the incredible thing about SCG's roster too is, like you said, Seo did have a quiet match in general today, but when players like Celaram and Mako are each respectively dropping 24 kills on their specific maps, I mean that's exactly what you need, and they just have the kind of roster who, when your star player is not, you know, performing, you have those other players who can fill those shoes and are not afraid to step up when they're needed. So they are definitely looking like a scary team here, and FT looking to try and say, listen, might be a slow start, but we still are a championship team. Maybe we can get it done the later of the season when playoffs coming around, but only time will tell.
Yeah. And even on a night where it was a little bit of it was a little bit of a rough sailing for FT. There were still moments where we could see that, hey, this team could be something special. Icy on Reyna
Absolutely.
putting up very solid numbers. Prisma on Raze also, again, quietly having a very strong game, especially in the sport department. It just needs a little bit more time for things to click together. But
Yeah.
if they can get that under control, I know they did just bring in a coach recently, get things tweaked just a little bit. There's still plenty of season left to be played for FT. I wouldn't be surprised if they start making quite a bit more noise than they did tonight as we head further into the season and maybe even into the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with that, I believe the next match for Elysium is going to be tomorrow night. That one is going to be SCG versus Kittens with Mittens. So we will see how that one plays out and see where the rankings come in terms of each team's record right now. With a 4-0 map victory from SCG, it looks like they are still going to be the favorites to win the season here. But we will see, because I do believe FT is now 1-1, and with two teams 0-1 going against each other, we'll see how the rest of the season plays out. So I think that's going to be it from me. Emma, do you have anything else to say?
Uh, Not really. I mean, the team's already pretty much said all that they had to say. Again, congratulations again to SCG for their win tonight. Be sure to stick with us. I believe we have a match tomorrow for Elysium and Asphodel. No,
Oh, and Asphodel, maybe. I do
I'm
only
not.
know
I'm
about
not
the
entirely
Elysium
sure.
match. Yeah.
I can go
Yeah.
ahead and check that really quickly. But again, just stay tuned. We got a lot more Valorant left to be played. We do indeed have two matches tomorrow. Not sure if we'll be bringing you the Elysium one or the Asphodel one.
Jam packed.
Uh, we're going to see some showdowns between Cloud Sus and Kittens with Mittens. Both of those matches should be very, very great. So if you get a chance, come back, tune in, watch them. Otherwise, just stay tuned. We've got a lot more season left to be played and a whole bunch of storylines starting to develop. And you will not
Yes.
want to miss it as we make our way further into the season. Mako, it was a pleasure casting with you.
Yeah, I had a blast. It's nice to see you on the desk.
And it's good to be back. It's been a little bit, but
Yeah.
either way, y'all aren't here to see me. Y'all are here to see the match. And now that that's over, we might as well just send y'all out of here. Take care,
Yep.
everybody. Have a good rest of your night. Tune in tomorrow for Kittens with Mittens versus Cloud Sus. I'm not sure which one again, but stay tuned for more information. Stay tuned for more Valorant, and we'll see y'all later. Peace out.
Adios.